Mr. Dar, how are you?
Jump in the shower.
There you go. Do it. All right, so I'm going to make you a little cup of coffee in our Swimming with Whales mug that I'm bringing over to you, delivering. That's right. How do you like it? How do you like your coffee first thing in the morning, my friend?
Whatever you like, just splash of something.
You got it. Splash of something. We'll see you soon, bro.
Bye, dude.
All right, bye. Later.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. So, Swimming with Whales, we're about to go meet Dar, Mr. Health. Really excited about it. We'll see you soon. I gotta be really careful with this coffee that I'm delivering to Dar, Dr. Health. So, let's get it going. He's actually a neighbor of mine here. Welcome to a special episode of Swimming with Whales, where we talk about business, longevity, consistency, and some good coffee. So I'm going to deliver it on my e-bike over here.
Are you serious?
Well, I think I'll be able to figure it out. It's a little bit risky. We're not going to do it. Well, we're not going to be risky today. Dar's not going to be happy. He wants us to deliver the coffee plain. We'll see you soon at Dr. Health's house. All right, follow me. We'll see you guys soon. All right, hey everyone, we're here with the coffee for Dr. Health, Brad. With Swimming with Whales, we're going to be talking about finance, about real estate, and of course, financial freedom. How you doing?
All right. Good morning. Nice to see you.
See you.
How are you?
See you.
Hello.
I delivered the coffee.
Oh, that's such a
You're
great
gonna have
coffee.
to. Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And since you are our newest financial freedom
Oh,
ambassador,
yeah. Let me change that.
Yes,
Hold that for me.
absolutely. Yes. I'm gonna actually go set it for you so we don't spill it.
Okay.
Yes.
I like the white.
Yes. We also have black, but I didn't know your size, the head size.
That's good.
I got you the same. I figured you have a big head.
I've worked on my ego.
That's right. All right, well,
Beautiful day in paradise.
it's a beautiful day to be here on Dar Street. We're going to be walking here in our neighborhood, talking about financial freedom, health, wealth, and how we can help you guys, the audience, with everything that we have encountered in the last 30 years that we've been actively really strong. 40 years? I mean, we've been obviously alive longer than that, but you know how it is. It takes you to be in your 20s kind of to really focus.
I mean, how old were you when you had your first business, right? I was 12 years old selling Swatch watches at my dad's watch store and jewelry store. And then I ended up selling baseball cards at, Holiday Inn in San Francisco with these when you sell your baseball, basketball, and football cards as a kid, right?
Right.
How old were you when you started?
I had legitimate my first job at the age of 12 in as well.
See, there you go.
But I didn't have my investment hat on. I didn't have even a clue of financial freedom or as far as health.
Yeah.
I remember, my stepdad telling me that I got to go jogging at roughly the age of 12 because I can become a little bit plumpy if I don't move.
Yeah.
So my son was asking me the other day, what's going on? How did you become regimented about working out and all that? And I said, from a young age, I noticed I am a certain type and I do like to eat. Luckily now I eat a little bit less, than I used to. But so that's what I meant. For the last 3 decades, I think we've really been really focused. I bought my first home at the age of 21. As far as, I know your big thing is sleep apnea and how we can help, the masses out there. But I think we should walk a little bit and talk. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a special episode of Swimming with Whales. We have Dar Radfar here, who's going to be helping us out with health because he's our Dr. Dar.
Yeah.
And his sleep apnea is really what got him motivated about health. I'm going to let you take that away. Obviously, we did an episode before when you went over it, but you can kind of tell us the story about the tree, Yeah,
actually, it was in this community in Calabasas. I was driving home one night in 2009 and I fell asleep at the wheel. I crashed my car into a tree. I was going roughly around 30 miles an hour. It's an embarrassing story, but I don't play victim to it. It propelled me as a dentist. I was practicing dentistry for about 7 years. And now all of a sudden I'm a sleep apnea dentist because I treated myself with a mouthpiece after I couldn't wear that CPAP machine that people don't really. I was starting to snore at the time I was told I was snoring. Which is also a fun, embarrassing thing for people to deal with. Right?
I'm used to that. But yeah.
And some people sleep in different bedrooms, but, and now with the mouthpiece that I've made, it's just the energy, the mental clarity. And, as we talked, Monday mornings is, rough for some people when they get up. I know you're a happy person on a Monday.
I'm a happy person
Monday through Sunday?
every day. The first 12 seconds that I can think or remember to do, I give gratitude to being alive, to be breathing again. Somehow it's been told that I guess when we go to sleep, it's a gift for us to actually wake up again. So I literally remind this to myself all the time. And the reason I love Mondays is because, I'm able to do whatever I want to do on a Monday. And that's what financially free means. And I have a friend of mine that in the book that I wrote, his quote that I absolutely loved was, I know that I'm financially free when on a Monday I get to go jogging, and for the most part my friends are going to work. So that's what
I'm with you on a Monday because some of my investments have allowed me to stay away from my practice. I still go in 6 or 7 days a month to see patients. But last night I journaled 15 things I'm grateful for. There's a reason why I do that. Hand, paper, pen, as opposed to just thinking it or typing it in your phone. It's been studied that you actually have 23% less cortisol when you sleep, and you stay asleep and sleep better when you show gratitude before you fall asleep. And that's huge because you want better sleep, right? So you want to go to bed in gratitude. And then when you get up in the morning, your intentions for the day are very important. So usually I do a morning meditation for about 5 minutes, just close my eyes. Sometimes it's guided through something on YouTube. And I ended up this morning just thinking about my day, how beautiful of a day this is going to be, seeing you today, speaking to you all. And then ultimately what I'm going to do today to give to my patients later on in the afternoon when I see them. And also some of the meetings that I have and how powerful of an impact that they can have on my life and other people's life. So you almost have to envision what your emotions are going to be like for the day. You can envision the gratitude, the joy, the success, the confidence, the wins.
100%.
Even when I'm saying that, your energy wakes up a little bit.
I'm saying it. I know.
You feel it.
We just attended a golf tournament, and golfers are constantly visualizing the ball go into
before they do it.
So manifesting the day, bring in all positive energy. I love the fact that, you're able to block out time to be with us, and then you obviously still serve the community. I can tell you, when I look for deals, that's my passion. My passion is to be able to help people around me with deals that they cannot find. And then they're like, oh, that's awesome. And I'm getting this money and it's stable and consistent. So that's,
some of the things,
resonates.
Some of the things we need to do, Ben, is, you create some wealth a little bit when you do your trade, whether you're a lawyer or a doctor or any business person. And then you have 100, 200, 500, a million, Then you got to look at some of these investments. If you're able to get 10% on your money and build some equity, 10% of $1 million is $100,000, right? That buys you some time. And that's how it's cumulative how these things have happened over the years for myself and for you, right?
100%.
To be able to have the Monday where you could say, I'm going to go and see patients or clients from 1 to 5, as opposed to 5 days a week, breaking your back, breaking 100%. Your mind, So it starts small. And I commend you for showing some of the deals that you get because you've been in the business for so long. I saw how many emails you get. Like, how many do you get usually?
I get roughly right weekly, I would say about 250 conservatively. So obviously annually it ends up being thousands of emails. And these are emails from brokers, from investment companies, from marketing reps, from tenant reps that are all in the commercial, industrial, multifam, hospitality, and land. Now, I'm not into land. I'm not into hospitality, but I'd like to know what's happening in the space that I'm in. And, to go back to when you're thinking residual income and baby steps, I started so small at the age of 21 when I purchased my first property as an investment property, where I did the deal for roughly $300 profit monthly.
Yeah.
Because
which is not that much, but you got to get started somewhere.
Exactly.
The problem is most professionals that do other traits besides investments don't know really the details of what's a good property, what's
100%.
not, right? What you don't know. So you have to almost leverage on some people who have had experience. You've done it since you were 21, right?
Right.
And so the crash courses on the weekend to know how to invest in real estate don't really, I've tried it. Doesn't work. That's why I kind of leverage on your, if you ever need any sleep or oral health issues, you leverage on me, right?
Absolutely.
No matter how many books you read, no matter how many YouTube videos you read, you go to the professional. And so,
I have a night guard, but the night guard doesn't help me not snore.
Exactly.
And my wife
it's good for your clenching and
my wife still
yeah.
claims that I snore.
You gotta get you in.
I again, but regardless. So yeah, you're right. I gotta fix my
but you leverage on me for that, right? And other things that I've learned in the health world that I can help you, and I gotta leverage on your experience in your group.
And the whole point of us interacting with the investor community is to be able to have partners and affiliates, whether it's professional DDSs or professional chiropractors, investment companies, brokers, a family office that just inherited a shopping center in Ohio, and it's $11 million, and the kids don't want to run the shopping center. We would love to buy it.
Right.
We could own it together with them. So there's a lot of synergy. The whole point of our podcast is to be able to have investors, like you said, leverage our tools, everything that we know, everything that we can help with.
Yeah, and also the time. You said Ohio.
Yeah.
I haven't even been to Ohio.
Right.
I've been to like 15 states in this country, but I haven't been to Ohio. And so you have the connections to be able to get information, because you and I both know it's very challenging to find something in Southern California.
In all honesty, I haven't been to Ohio either.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm open to a deal in Ohio as long as it makes sense, because then we'll find the management company. We'll get the boots on the ground. We are looking in main metropolitan areas. We're not looking for rural areas. And like you said, the fact that you haven't been, the fact that I haven't been, but once a deal is there, we'll do our due diligence. We'll figure it out. Same like today, if you have any operators, any dentists, any wellness operators that might utilize a space in the West Michigan, Grand Rapids area, we have a space available for lease. In fact, the building can also be for sale. There's also a Domino's there, a Wild Bill's, a dry cleaners.
How did you find this place?
We bought it in August of 22. It was an organic type of a sale, and that's the way we like to really purchase all of our deals, where the transfers are organic and we're able to get a lucrative deal, and the seller is able to walk away with a fair deal. So it's a win-win situation. And we typically don't sell, but whenever we have a vacancy that's more than 25%, we offer it to owner users. Of course, we're looking to lease it. We're not necessarily looking to sell it, but if it's out there, if there's a dentist out there that says, I want to own the building that I actually operate in, this is the perfect situation. So that's one location. We also have our building in Malibu in California on Canaan Crossing, which is PCH and Canaan. We have about 5,000 square feet available there. Also wellness driven. We have a golf simulator operator that's there now. So anybody out there that's listening that would like to be in the Malibu area, reach out to Dar or myself. And you can go to the website also 28955pch.com. You'll be able to see all the details. But, to go back to how we can be value add to our listeners, to our viewers, they need to reach out to us. They need to reach out to us with what it is that they think we can help them leverage. So please don't be shy. Please reach out to us, and we're real people, right? Should I show everybody that you're real? It's not a bubble. No, he's real. He's real. All right, he's ticklish.
So what happens with my friends that are colleagues of mine, dental in the medical world, is they've got 50, they've got 100, they've got 250, and they want to diverse their profile. They want to, their portfolio and their profile wants to go some in real estate, some in S&P 500, some in crypto. And we've all known over the years that real estate does well. It's just, we know in California, it's hard, right?
It's very hard.
It's a challenging thing to go on your own, go on LoopNet and all these other things and try to find pocket listings while you're grinding it with your patients or your clients. I mean, this is the real deal. This is what I go through.
The problem is that there is no transparency, and that's why we're doing this podcast. That's why we're doing the show. We want to be able to really bring transparency back to investments. Right. We want to show investors that Wall Street is not the only way to go. And you've been hearing it everywhere. You know, all the biggest brokerages have been anticipating for the next decade to have a growth rate that's fairly conservative, 3 to 5% of growth per year. For me, it was always, like Dar said, from day one, the rule of 10%. It's not easy to get. A lot of times when I tell the sellers, the brokers, hey, I need to buy at an 8 cap because right now my loans are roughly at around 6%. A lot of times those same brokers, sometimes the sellers are saying, I'm not your seller, and it's okay. Right. So the question is, if you, the listener, if you have a certain property, if you're an accountant, if you're an attorney, if you're some type of a professional that would like to leverage real estate and monetize whatever's on the table, then you can reach out to us. We can help you get there. And if you have some sort of a sleep apnea issues, if you'd like to, obviously, get involved in giving back, we have the foundation, which is Financial Freedom for All. And this is the foundation that we set up when we set up the fund just about 4 years ago, back in 21. And I'm really happy that Dar, our newest Financial Freedom ambassador, and when I say that, I mean, I don't like to say activist, but I really am. I mean, all I ever talk about is financial freedom and investments and how do we get there, and, taking your money from one place to another place so you can actually utilize whatever your money represents today. Of course, it's amazing to have gold. Of course, it's great to have crypto, assuming you have the right coins, right? But where's the residual income? How do you live off of that? So that's what this is going to be about. This is going to be about, okay, you're 40 years old and you need 300,000 in order to retire. How are you going to get there in the next 5 years? If you need our help,
it's funny you mentioned that, right? We were just talking about it in the gym here with the guys. How much do you need to retire, right? How much is it that you could say, well, retire? I don't think I'll ever retire.
No.
I don't think you'll ever retire. Just to be able to get passively where your bills are.
You do what you want to do.
Yeah.
When you want to do it.
And for some people, we've created a lifestyle that requires, somewhere in the millions, right? Oh, yeah. Because if you're making 10% of $5 million, that's $500,000.
Right.
That you could live pretty comfortably in California.
Right.
I mean, again, everyone has different lifestyles now. You can start slowing down a little bit, but if you want to live comfortably, you got to have $5 million out there.
Right.
And it is in my belief for the people that's not their business, which Correct. Is investments. It's the bread and butter work that we do with our arms, head, back, neck, and our minds is we got to diversify. And if you're diversifying, the S&P over the last 30 years has made close to 9-point-something%, almost 10%. That's great, right? But we have World War III that could, happen, right? Anything can happen. That's why if you've got $200,000 or $500,000 that's sitting there, so to speak, you have to think about percentages. And I want to talk to you about that.
Sure.
What percentage would we go into S&P 500 or, investments? What percentage would we do real estate? What percentage would I play in crypto on Robinhood or Coinbase, right?
Sure.
And I always thought in my mind of your investments, the max you want to risk all in was about 25%. Like you got 100K, 25K, you can burn it, so to speak. And that's why I put 25% in crypto investments. Then you want to go, I think, a balance between real estate and other equities, right? Such as gold, such as stocks. So the other 75% from what I've learned, and I'm a dentist, but if maybe you've been doing investments for a while now. That other 75%, I think it's a good idea. 37.5 of it, throwing it into real estate where you're getting that hopeful 10% return. And then the other 37.5 in some sort of commodity or stock. What do you think?
I think that it's a great plan. Of course, it depends on what your trajectory, at what
how
age
old you are also.
Right. How old are you? How many years do you have in order to achieve your financial goals? And what type of a lifestyle do you want to live throughout? Because as you're attempting to achieve these goals, which may take you 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you have to live a certain lifestyle. And if you're going to be spending your money on accessory vehicles, accessory e-bikes, accessory crypto, accessory, the right coins. But the most important thing is really, where do you want to get to, and you're reversing engineering it. So for me, I happen to semi-retire. I thought I was retired, but then I understood that I'm never retiring. That was back in 2013, and I was 40 years old at the time. And the only reason I was able to actually say to myself that I'm semi-retired is because I've achieved the point where I had enough coming in to pay off my annual nut. That's it. So whether somebody needs to spend $250,000 a year to live their lifestyle, or $350,000 a year, or $1 million a year, it doesn't matter. You have to reverse engineer it. And once you reverse engineer it, now you're going to say, okay, if I'm trying to achieve this goal in the next 5 years or 8 years, currently I have 50% of my net worth in the S&P 500, what am I going to do with it? Given the fact that most likely it's not going to go higher than 3 to 5%, what am I going to do? So me personally, I just took the rest of the money that we had in the stock market, 2 different separate SEP accounts, SEP IRA accounts, that we moved into a self-directed IRA. And again, we're going to be investing that into real estate, because we're probably going to be earning more than 10%. Now, that's, just utilizing what's on the table, because so many individuals are very scared to move the money from a custodian that they've had their money at for so many years or decades. Some individuals, some investors that I know, their parents set up the investments. And when I talk to them about diversifying their investments, they tell me, I feel bad changing the investments.
I've been with someone for so many years, they're my friend, all that.
The part that really gets me is, my uncle set up my investments, my dad set up my investments, and because of that, Ben, I prefer not to touch it. I don't know if that's a good enough answer. Well, if you told me you did your due diligence and the reason you're in your investments is because of that, and it's secondary, but it happened to be that a loved one of yours actually set it up for you, great. But again, for me, every single year, you're supposed to analyze your net worth. Every single year, you're supposed to look at your real estate. You're supposed to look at your crypto. You're supposed to look at your gold. You're supposed to understand that if none of these assets are giving you residual income, you're not going forward to where you need to be. And, that happens to a lot of investors that live in very equity-heavy areas like LA, where they have a lot of wealth, but they don't have the residual income to back it up.
Yeah, I can tell you a lot of my friends that are dentists and medical doctors and lawyers, they're doing very well. They've used autopilot, copying Nancy Pelosi's account and making 28 to 35% on the money this year. But again, you can't, if you got $1 million, you got 100K, you can't put it all into that. I don't care what the ride feels like. I don't care how much the algorithm tells you. You got to diversify. And to be honest with you, this is why you have me here. I wouldn't 100%. Put it all on real estate either.
100%.
Not all of it, right? But it's a percentage, right? And I think that's what the common folk who has worked and
If
has
it's-
some money now.
If it's income producing real estate,
Yeah.
I would put it all in it.
Yeah, really?
Because because if it's
You'd have
income,
to still convince me of that.
I don't need to
I'll
convince
tell you
you.
why.
I don't need to convince
I'll
you.
tell you why.
Okay.
Because even if you're making me 10%,
Yeah.
there's an opportunity somewhere else that I could make more than 10%.
Sure.
Right? Like in crypto, I've made over 48% in the last year.
Sure.
Right? That's great. But if I had $1 million,
But that's wealth on the books that unless you really take it off the table, you're not able
I took
to
the
cash
profit
out.
out.
Okay, there you go. So you're good.
So I
and
think
you have
like,
to pay taxes for it, which again in real
Yes.
estate is a little bit better.
Yes.
Okay.
You have it. So again, I think the average person, when they listen to give me all your money for crypto, is going to be like, whoa,
No.
that's scary,
No.
right? Or put your all money in
Income.
stock market.
Income.
Is because you can't hold you're talking about your percentage is more predictable, right?
Not only the percentage is more predictable because again, you know the moving parts.
Yeah.
Because when you just invest in a REIT or a fund,
Right.
you don't know the actual team that's actually managing the investments.
Right.
Now, when you're dealing with a private equity fund, when you're coming to your business, they obviously know you. When they come to financial freedom, they know me, money management that today. And the only reason that I said at any given time over the last 30 years, I got my real estate license in 1996. I started investing in 1994. At any given time, it's always the best to put your money behind an asset that can give you income.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that asset is a prime asset, such as a nice Smart and Final shopping
Right.
center, on Ventura, you're very happy.
Right.
You're driving by that asset.
Right.
You're
The
like,
equity.
I got 10% of
Right.
that thing.
Right.
I'm getting my K1, plus I'm getting my monthly, so I'm able to live off of that. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
Now, when you have some extra FU money,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
That's when you
Right.
put it into the long-term investments
Right.
that might materialize.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
This is the
So it's all about
questions.
how much FU
Yeah.
money.
Let's
there
say we
is.
don't have any of that money. And
Okay,
I do
then
have
we can't afford it.
and we do have like a 100K or a
Uh-huh.
500K, right? What is the risk of putting it into a shopping center in Michigan or in Ohio? What is the worst case scenario that could happen? Let's call it triple recession. People are not making their payments for rent. I mean, there's always,
Well, the worst thing
a
already
downfall,
happened.
right?
COVID was
Right,
the worst thing
right.
that happened.
Yeah, yeah.
So we could just look at what happened during
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
And I could tell you that all of our properties in Texas did phenomenal.
okay. That's important.
So it's very important
Yeah.
to know which state you're investing in.
Yeah.
And it's very important to know who's your management team.
Right.
Our management team is very in touch with the tenants, very in touch with the banks. So all the tenants got the PPP loans right away. They were able to pay the rent.
Mm-hmm.
In California, a little
Different
bit more
story.
problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, when you say you buy in West Michigan or buy in Florida or buy in Ohio, if you're buying it with a group
Yeah.
that you can count on, where they're going to do the due diligence, where they're going to double check all the red flags, and at the end of the day, transparency will be there, we're good.
Yeah.
But the problem is that, as we know, transparency is something that's, a lot of times it doesn't exist. And that's again why we're doing this. We want to be transparent with everybody. And you'll see with the upcoming episodes, you'll see the deals that we're buying, that we're able to find, where as we have more listeners, as we have more viewers, we'll open up the space for them. And hospitality is risky.
Mm-hmm.
Office, I've never bought unless I'm occupying the office. Land is just a liability.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a check that you have to pay for the taxes
Right.
until you actually do something with that equity. So this is why I said I focus on income producing properties that are needed.
Right.
A center that is in a busy street, it's not going anywhere, and the neighborhood that's within 3 miles or 4 miles is coming to see it.
Yeah.
And, and that's the type of centers that, we'd like to get operators to come and fill in the spaces that we have. But most importantly, we just want the investors out there to let us know how they feel about what they have going on. Let us know what advisory help they might need with any purchases, potential refinances, potential sleep apnea issues, how to be more well balanced. And I don't know, anything else I'm missing out?
No, I think, this is why we're having this talk, is because, again, you're in the business of it. When I'm in the business of investing whatever hard-earned money I've made.
Absolutely.
Right. And so for me, I didn't know land is kind of like a facade, right? It's a
It
mirage,
is,
right?
yeah. Bob Hope used to own all this land until
there you
we
go.
got it.
And there's beauty in that in other ways, but that's the thing, is like, we always wonder, like, what happens if they can't pay their rent? What happens to the investment? Well, that's why you have a history of investments, right? That you'll share with the group through our podcast that 100%. We do together, that show this is where your journey was. And let's call it 5 years ago, where you looked at this property and you said, okay, even though and we went through COVID, right? And why it still stayed at a minimum above water, right? And I think that's the experience, that the value that you share, that could be transferred into the next investment, so that people who listen, including myself, can trust and invest in there.
100%. It's not just what happened during COVID. It's also what happened in the last 20 years. Well, that's the type of historicals we're looking for. We started out by saying how long we've been passionate about what we're doing.
Yep.
And, 30 years is a long time. And, to really, and we're just starting, because we're just now bringing it out to the masses. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see how we'll be able to scale up in the Sunbelt states, with operators, with, business, transfers. That's something we spoke about, that in the next 5 years, there's going to be tons of businesses that are going to be selling, but, probably for
what kind of businesses
lower than they should. Laundromats,
car washes.
Yeah.
The simple kind of, it runs its own kind of thing, not too much.
Bookkeeping services that accountants can buy, but a lot of accountants are not having their, entrepreneur head on. They're thinking, how many tax returns can I do?
Right.
So again, the type of professional that you are will dedicate your horizon towards your own financial freedom achievement goals.
Right.
It's, you decide you're going to do it in 15 years, or you're going to do it in 7 years, or it's going to take you 25 years. And I think with our help, my goal is to have more financial freedom ambassadors, financial freedom activists like you, that are more, their mind is blown with everything that we're going to show our audience and our viewers on the deals that we find.
Right.
Of course, it's not easy to manage them. Of course, it's not easy to analyze them. Of course, it's not easy to even make the decision to put 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is. But there's a way to get there.
Right.
We're real people, and hopefully we'll motivate others to do the same.
And we have the team now, the structure of proper documentation, legal, accounting, all that stuff, so that everyone feels safe and comfortable, and as they dive into, a certain investment.
I shared with you that I watched all 15 seasons of American Greed.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm the type of individual that always looks for flaws. I'm just the flaw checker. That's it. You put me in a room and I'm going to look for flaws. That doesn't mean that I'm a negative person. It just means that I'm a very risk-averse person, and I hold myself very highly towards my investors, my partners, and myself. I've always told, before I even started managing the fund, I told myself, Ben, you have a due diligence to your money. Just like Kevin O'Leary says, you send the money out there, you want them to come back with more. It's very important. And when the money is out there, you want to know what's happening with the money. What's it doing? It's a living thing. You have to have a relationship with the money that's going to allow you to live a better life, as opposed to just looking at it as a number and acquiring more wealth, which is obviously amazing to do. But how are you utilizing, your wealth today? Yeah. That's really what this is about.
In 2007, I invested $100K in a huge apartment building in San Francisco, and it went to zero.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the mortgage crisis. Right. Yeah. And so we do our due diligence. We thought we were going to get at least 15% on the money. It was a beautiful, Embarcadero in San Francisco. So I think sometimes people have a little bit of fear because they go into certain investments and it was all done very beautifully. And things like that can happen, and it holds people back
100%.
And the question becomes, how do you So how do you
2001.
push? So how do you push through that resilience?
Took me 10 years to reinvest.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you're not alone.
Exactly.
To go back to but when did I go back to the market? When I had extra FU money,
Right.
and I couldn't buy anything in real estate.
Right.
When I can't buy nothing, that's when I go back to the market.
It goes back to what you mentioned. This building wasn't even developed yet. So your investments are primarily focusing on
older
cash flow. Businesses that are already turning.
Buildings that have been there for 20, 30 years. So I could show you for the last 20 years
what the income is.
The history of the occupancy. And you could kind of see if the management company or the leasing agents were able to reoccupy whatever vacancies came up within 6 months or 2 years or never. Because sometimes you drive by centers and sometimes centers have to be redeveloped. And that's the worst thing that can happen to a real estate investor is when you have to redevelop your asset. Because literally whatever you paid for it just went down to nothing because you're starting from scratch. So that's why I never buy new until now. Now I just got back from Houston, and as you know, I bought my first newer product property, a TLE, the learning experience operation. We paid about $490 a foot, which is pretty good for the area that we're in. It's Jersey Village, which is northwest Houston, and we're open to other product that's new, such as Starbucks, such as, other operators.
When you say new, it means you already have an operator.
Construction is new.
Okay.
Construction is 2023, 24, 25. Now we're looking at a center that's 2017. To me, 2017 is new. But the beauty of it is that I can go back and look at all the tenants that have been there, and I could say, okay, how have you done thus far? So I have something. I'm not literally starting from scratch. And we also look for personal guarantees, and we look for, is the usage needed? And that's really interviewing tenants and all these kind of things. That's what really we're going to be talking about. So that way the listeners, the viewers, as you're driving or riding your bike, this can hopefully resonate and allow you to just kind of think outside the box. Think of what else can you do with your capital.
I love it.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you guys next time on Swimming with Whales.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.